Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. It's time to begin. And today we're going to discuss stuff called enterprise, namely the software component that's responsible for employee monitoring. Here is the most recent version of this software, 4.8, 913. Let's discuss what it can do. StaffCop Enterprise has three major building blocks. They are accounting for work time, information security, and system administration. Let's begin with system administration because this module is the simplest and easiest to understand. In fact, it is the system administration. StaffCop Enterprise only has two administration features for working with software and hardware and for remote access to the workplace. Here is a production system. It is in use, and we can actually see the workplace of any employee. Either his access is highlighted green. I will select myself. Let's have a look at my workplace. This is my desktop, and you can see my first monitor. And this is my second monitor. And it's based on it that we are doing this demonstration. It's in this way that we can monitor an employee. Moreover, we can take over control to help the user to resolve problems. The second part, or module of system administration, is workstation configuration management. You can select events. They are off here. You will not be able to see them. They are inventory taking, collecting information about the workstation, collecting information about the software. And the third part is module management or software management. Namely, you can allow or prohibit launching applications. For example, there are two shifts, two people working using the same workstation. The first one is in charge of Excel tables, and the second one prepares documents in Microsoft Word. The system can be set up in such a way as to restrict launching a Word to the one who uses Excel and all the way around. And this can be done with a StaffCop Enterprise. Now, let's proceed to the following. What we have to account for work time. What do our employees do while working behind their computers? They visit different websites on the internet. They use different software products. We have categorized the software, and you can see those categories by applying filters. We put in place productivity policies. Each website is categorized based on 4-category system. We develop software. We as a company. Therefore, automobile portals, they have been structured. And here is the filter for automobile portals. Clearly, the filter properties are set up in such a way as to specify these websites as non-productive. However, if the company is engaged in the automobile business, we can change it. We can make those websites productive, and the employees will be able to legitimately visit those sites. As I mentioned before, we have 5 categories: premium, productive, neutral, non-productive, and prohibited. Out of the box, you can only have productive, non-productive, neutral. Well, I have never ever seen anybody using the premium category. Okay, we can set up our policies and we can describe both websites and applications using the same way that we can describe different categories of applications. For example, archives are neutral. They can be used by anybody. They are neither productive nor non-productive. How does it work? Any event related to access to a website is marked with policies and categorized. Now, when there is a report, we can see how productive an employee is. Let's select some day, for example, yesterday, and evaluate my work yesterday. How did I work? We select myself, and let's begin with the simplest exercise. This is a plain and simple table with my data. This is my workday beginning. This is the end of the workday. Some explanation may be needed. The beginning of the workday is the first event that comes from the agent. The end of the workday is the last event coming from the agent on this particular day. You can see total time, active time, downtime, and delays, which are described in the job description. If it is provided for in the job description, the events will be processed in this way. Well, I selected today. I should have selected yesterday. Just give me a sec, please. Here it is. This is November the 16th. It's a simple table. It does not meet all the critical requirements. To make it more illustrative, we can build a graph, and we can see bars of three colors: white, gray, and green. Gray are neutral resources, green are productive resources, and white are downtime. When I was not behind my computer, stepping out of the office, probably. Here you can see some downtimes, and they can be investigated, but most of the time I was productive. I did not visit any websites that may be categorized as entertaining. I can also come up with a combined report. It can be presented as a table or as a graph. Similarly, I can build graphs for all my business units or by activity. For yesterday, for example, you can see what applications I used yesterday, how productive or non-productive I was. I can drill down into some parameters to see what applications I used and when, what websites I visited, and how much time I spent on each of them. In other words, you can see all the activities of the user, myself in this case. Now I can generate a report on downtimes. You can see all my actions here, the duration of the downtime, and total downtime. How is it calculated? If by the end of a certain period, the user has not completed any action, it is considered downtime. For instance, I could have been moving my mouse, but without clicking anywhere, it will be downtime. You can have a look at all those data, you can evaluate them, and you can draw your conclusions. I can get a report for productive time for myself, and this is my business units. You can see neutral times, non-productive times for myself. My productive time is 72%. Is it much or is it not? To be frank, compared to an average employee, it's a lot. Normally, it's less than 50%. Unfortunately, compared to normal work, well, it's not good. But please note, my workday is not only about sitting behind my computer. I can do many other things. In my opinion, 72% is quite adequate in terms of productivity. All the other reports are generated on a business unit level. For example, if our user's profile, this is my profile. Well, unfortunately, I'm not authorized to see profiles, which is normal. Well, our leaders don't grant this possibility. You can see my user card. And it will show what I was doing yesterday. This is my activity on websites. This is my work behind my computer. My contacts, 2 calls, total call time, intercepted files. This is my mail. And this is the most interesting part. This is my calling chart. How many times I called and whom. As you can see, most of the time I was calling this particular employee. Pretty illustrative. Gradually, we segue to the second module, which is information security. This graph shows my contacts and those most frequently called, namely who I can transfer the information which is at my disposal. And you can also see my work time graph. What else can you see for work time accounting? There are things I can only describe by words due to corporate ethics. These are tables: work time, absence table. The work time table is the same table which is submitted to the accounting office for payroll collection, payroll calculation. That's me. This is my work time table for the month of November. You can submit it to the accountant's office to calculate my payroll. One important note: if you submit this table to the accountants, you will see that the total value will be much smaller. This is active time, the time spent by employees behind their computers doing their work. So it's better to submit work time tables. You can also see downtimes. This feature is not set up for me. And there is also a printer use table showing how much time I've been using the printer. I didn't use it this month. That's what we have for our work time accounting. It is on purpose that I'm not showing you reports by business units. Normally, such tables and graphs can be built for departments and divisions. You can compare them, mix and match them. In this way, the management gets full information concerning work time accounting for all employees and business units. This information can be used in order to optimize the work time, to understand who is more productive and who is less productive. The managers will see all the business data. Okay, that's what we can account for. All employees' work time. As to information security flows. Information flows and information security. We pursue two approaches. I'm going to describe the approach that is my favorite. And then by having studied the documentation, you can apply your approach. I have always used standard filters. We can set up a lot of filters out of the box. Efficiency policies, security policies, administration, stock taking reports for software, and here you can see policies. Very interesting part is the filters that were triggered in the period of time in question. These are the policies that worked out over this period of time. For example, we can see what events took place based on the dictionary of obscenities. Yes, there were some events here. By the way, they are my events. We can see who used public emails. For some companies, it's critical because it is a very important leakage channel. We can see who is preparing for resignation or being fired. We can drill down into those filters, standard policies, for example. Let's do it. We have to select the policy and the filters to see which events fit into it. Well, this is the first channel, public email servers. Correspondence. We can see all the correspondence of an individual employee. Let's select myself again to see who are my correspondents. These are my counterparts. You can see who I mailed and when. Let's take the current month. These are my events by dates. Now let's proceed to the correspondence, and you can see on which day I wrote and whom. You can see the channel, email in this case, and all the recipients. This is our leakage channel. So we see all the mail data as well as messengers such as Skype, ICQ, Jabber, and others. Well, in this system, they have not been set up for the lack of such need. But you can see it, you can do it to see who I wrote, when, and so forth. Well, if you switch to the events, you will also see the content of those messages. For instance, here are my messages, and we can read those messages. They are not secret. For example, these are my emails. Let's have a look at them. For example, I'll pick something for you to see. For example, I wrote to one of my managers. We can pick an event and we'll see the message. Here is the message. This is information flow control works. For email in this case, as I mentioned, you can intercept messages from messengers. as well as from other sources, such as WhatsApp, for example, or Telegram. The web interface can also be monitored. Once the LKR filter has been triggered, you can see everything. You can categorize data based on keywords or vocabularies. Another important section in information security is file control. In our case, the file control is on. You can see the files. Let's see which files I worked on. You will see here all my files. Here they are. For the set period of time, a month in this case, you can restore a file. If it has been ruined, for example, you can do file inspection for data that may contain national secrets, for example. In this case, we see all the files. We can filter them out based on extensions, for example. Here are all the Word files and all the operations on Microsoft Word files. We can also proceed to file names. These are all my Word files, the number of times I edited them, and so on and so forth. So it's very easy to monitor our employees based on what they do with files. You can trace back all the changes and copying. There are file operations such as reading, renaming, moving. We can select all the operations. For example, we want to know which docx files were moved by myself. I worked with this file. I moved it from one folder to another on the hard drive. These are our information security modules and flow control features. What else can we see in the system? Apart from text-based report, we can build a big number of graphs. We have our analytical features. All data can be presented as tables or linear graphs. Interesting. Here are all my events. Let's see how they distribute. Yesterday, for example. I am the user, my full name. Let's see. And let's generate a pie chart. These are all my events. However, if you select several users, it will look this way. You can see events by users. Or we can build a linear chart. As you can see, I had most of the events yesterday. This graph is really interesting. It shows the distribution of all events in the time plane. You can see that in this period of time, this laptop was not really active. However, it was used during the whole day. And this is the distribution of my events. It's a pretty illustrative graph. Or we can display it like this, or we can present it as a tree. In other words, we have a lot of ways to present data. Events can be presented as a table, which is a standard format, or as a list. We can see a list of events. Here is our list. We can see screenshots separately, if you're interested, with timestamps. with dates. You can select any screenshot and drill down into it. Now to activities. It's a thermal map, and you can pick data based on employees and timestamps. It's also very interesting. Each square is a 5-minute period. We can see downtimes, we can see breaks. The event menu is pretty interesting. You can find it in analysis tools. In other words, you can present your employees' activity in a very illustrative manner. When events change, the thermal map also changes. That is actually everything. This heat map. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. You can ask your questions using the chat, or my email is pretty simple. My first name letter, Yuri Osnovsky, at stuffcop.ru. You can ask any questions concerning the product, its features, the technology. If you have financial questions, such as price and how to buy, I'll forward your message to some of my colleagues. Well, that's actually everything. If you have any questions, you can either ask them via chat, or if you have more questions regarding how to use it all, you can ask our technical specialists. Thank you very much for your attention, and all the best.